This is the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion for Wednesday, October 5th. I'm Michael Groff. We had a high of 85 yesterday in the valley after a morning low of 59 degrees. That's the coolest temperature we'd seen since May 7th. Today, another quiet day around here, but changes are in store for the weekend. We'll talk about that as we look outside this morning. Mostly clear skies as the sun comes up over the valley. 64 degrees at Sky Harbor right now, dew point at 37, relative humidity 37%. Wind from the east at 7 miles per hour, and the barometer is rising. Around the metro area this morning, most of us in the upper 50s and 60s, although there's a 51 at Fort McDowell. It's the cool spot around here right now. Clear skies on the satellite picture for us, but some clouds off the Southern California coast in association with a trough that will be slowly headed our way by the weekend. Still some snow in the northern Rockies on the watch warning map this morning. That's why they have winter weather advisories for portions of Montana. Frost and freeze advisories for sections of Wyoming, Colorado, Kansas, and Nebraska. Wind advisories in the Dakotas. Dense fog advisories in portions of southeast Kansas and in Florida. In association with Hurricane Matthew, we have hurricane warnings for Palm Beach and Broward counties right now. Hurricane watches all the way up the coast toward Jacksonville, and tropical storm watches for inland sections of Florida, including Lakeland. On the convective outlook, there's a marginal risk of severe weather for portions of eastern Kansas and Missouri today. Tomorrow, a slight risk of severe weather for some of those same places, including Wichita over toward Kansas City up to Des Moines, with a marginal risk surrounding that. And the big story in the weather world, still Hurricane Matthew. And there are indications that this is going to do a loop over the next week or so. So we could be talking about this for quite a while. This is the official track from the Hurricane Center as of the 8 a.m. advisory. Maximum sustained winds, 115 miles per hour. System continues to move north at around 10 miles per hour. And there is expected to be a turn more toward the northwest as we go through the day today. Weather conditions will start to deteriorate in South Florida as early as tonight into tomorrow as the center of Matthew approaches southeast Florida. We'll hug the coast over the next couple of days, eventually moving up toward the Carolinas, but then starting to move east, and it looks like the Hurricane Center track is buying into this loop scenario also. Here's the GEFS 21-member ensemble. Again, many of the members are starting to show the loop that we're talking about. And we'll explain that in more detail as we get into the forecast right now. Here we go with the models. This is the 06E GFS, valid at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time today. Big cold upper trough here still in the west. Sort of a shortwave trough passing us by to the north today. So another day with sunny skies, maybe a little bit of breeze in the afternoon. Highs will be once again in the mid to upper 80s around here. Very pleasant day, dry conditions, low dew points should feel very nice. After a pleasant night tonight, tomorrow we'll have temperatures getting up to about 90 or so. There you see Matthew just northeast of Miami by tomorrow afternoon. On Friday, we have a shortwave trough approaching us from the west. And there's evidence of also a mid-level circulation there. So as that happens, broad southeasterly flow starts to import moisture into the state from northwest Mexico. Isolated showers and thunderstorms across eastern Arizona. There could be an isolated shower or storm along the boundary where this moisture starts to increase on Friday afternoon here in the valley. So we'll keep an eye on that. Matthew continues to move up the Florida coast just northeast of Daytona Beach, heading toward Jacksonville at this point. Again, Florida's on the west side of that system, the west side being the drier side, the safer side, if you will, but still there will be very high winds, damaging winds potentially right along the immediate coast, some squalls from the outer bands of this system, so still some very rough weather for those areas. As for us, precipitable water values on their way up on Friday afternoon, and that's what we're talking about with the chances of showers and thunderstorms. Saturday is probably our best day, our best window of opportunity for rain during the entire forecast period. Broad southeasterly flow, more moisture on the way. Precipitable water values climb up to above the 95th percentile for this time of year, with values exceeding 1.2 inches here in south central Arizona. And we even generate some pretty good CAPE in the afternoon. Look at those values. 1,000 to 1,200 joules per kilogram here over south central Arizona. And that all spells chances of showers and thunderstorms. The only inhibiting factor, there's a couple here. One, this trough is fairly weak, so there's not a lot of upper level dynamics with it. We're relying on mediocre to slightly below normal mid-level temperatures. We're relying on surface heating and thermodynamics and whatever moisture is available. So, with that in mind, it's going to be a partly to mostly cloudy day on Saturday. So, very much a showery day, perhaps, with a few rumbles of thunder. A couple of those thunderstorms could dump some heavy rain, but most of us aren't going to see a whole lot out of this. All right, here we go towards Sunday. Again, that trough starts to move on out of here. Isolated showers and thunderstorms over eastern Arizona. Our chances of rain technically not zero, but with drier westerly flow coming on in here, it looks like conditions will be improving. Then you see also Matthew starting to make a turn more toward the southeast on Sunday. It's just not moving up the coast. That's certainly good news for New England, but it's bad news for the Bahamas and Florida. How much rainfall are we going to get out of this entire thing before it's all said and done? Well, GFS showing about 1 to 2/10 of an inch at most. We always caveat that with the idea that a few areas could get more. There's always that isolated spot that sees maybe a half inch of rain, but for the most part, we'll see relatively small amounts of precipitation out of this. This is one of those scenarios where a lot of people will probably see something, but few of you will see much of in the way of significant precipitation. Better chances, obviously, in the mountains north and east of Phoenix. Monday, well, there goes Matthew, headed southwest, once again taking a shot at Florida. Wouldn't that be something if after you get hit by this thing Friday, this starts to come back at you again next week? This is certainly a scenario. Some of the other models are showing this as well. Around here, energy to the north, a little shortwave trough starting to head into the area from the west, but we will remain dry and temperatures mainly in the low 90s through this period. On Tuesday, Matthew headed for South Florida in some semblance of a diminished capacity, but still something to watch, and we would be dry with temperatures mainly in the low 90s. This is a week from today, Wednesday, October the 12th. Broad, flat ridging across the west means benign conditions around here, temperatures in the low to mid 90s. Matthew taking another shot at South Florida. On Thursday the 13th, continued ridging here in the west. More dry weather. Temps mainly in the 90s. Matthew still spinning around South Florida. And that continues as we go to the end of the forecast period. This is Friday, October the 14th. There's a 594 contour starting to appear over northern New Mexico. Highs across the deserts squarely in the 90s and maybe pushing the century mark in some areas if this were to verify. Certainly not out of the realm of possibilities for mid-October, but that would be highly unusual, to say the least. Matthew, speaking of highly unusual, finally going out to see if this were to be right. Hopefully it is. All right, temperatures through the period. Don't think we make it to 93 on Saturday. I think there's just too many clouds in the picture for that. But overall, the idea is temperatures to rise by the early part of next week. And temperatures could certainly be warmer than this, but those are above normal values. So the pleasant weather, we'll be getting on out of here, but low temperatures will still be not too bad. We'll just watch how that ridging develops by the latter portion of next week. That's a look at the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion for today. Our next video comes your way tomorrow morning. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great Wednesday.